Hey, everybody. So, this podcast is with a realtor, and I ask her a few questions about how to partner and how to work with a realtor to get referrals. Her name is Jennifer Bartlow, and she is a realtor here in Houston, Texas. It's a good 40-minute conversation, but we do go into what she looks for in moving companies, what her clients are looking for, how she feels about establishing kind of partnership relationship with moving companies. So I think this is a good conversation to have. I think it would be beneficial for you. So stick around. And if you ever need questions, I do have Jennifer Bartlow's contact information inside the show notes for this podcast, as well as on the YouTube video. And welcome, Jennifer Bartlow. Okay, everybody. Welcome. This is the Moving Up podcast just for movers. And today we're going to talk to Jennifer Bartlow. And Jennifer is a longtime real estate agent with all kinds of experience in residential, probably primarily commercial, from what I
Yeah.
understand. Yeah. So I'm just going to ask you, a little bit about your background, your expertise, and, what do you find most rewarding about real estate? But yeah, go for it, Jennifer.
All right. Well, thanks, Christina, for having me on. So I have been doing this for, like you said, about 10 years. One of the things I've done is, I was drawn to real estate and also I like helping people. So that just seemed to be a great combination. Apart from just my core real estate training, I am a military relocation professional. That's an additional certification, a seller representative specialist, a pricing strategy advisor, an accredited buyer representative, I have some commercial background, as well as a certified divorce real estate expert. So I have quite a few certifications under my belt, which I feel allows me to help my clients with their specific needs.
Wow, I had no idea. And just
It's
full
a
disclosure
lot.
here, I do want to mention that Jennifer is my sister-in-law. So full disclosure here, and I'm way even more impressed now than I was a minute ago. I had no idea. Like I know that you got into real estate a while ago, and you really I remember having this conversation with you. You were so like, I found it. I found my thing. I
Yes.
found the thing I'm really, really good at. And I remember you telling me that years ago, because
Yes.
you're kind of not bouncing around, but you would try something. It just didn't fit your
Right.
personality. It maybe wasn't challenging enough, or maybe it wasn't even from both of us being entrepreneurs. It just wasn't profitable. And
Mhm.
I don't know how you got into real estate. How did you get into real estate?
Well, I took classes. So in Texas, every state's different. In Texas, we Texas is pretty rigorous. I took classes through the Champions Real Estate School,
Mm-hmm.
uh, and then we have to take exams, and we have to get fingerprinted through the FBI
Mm-hmm.
because we do have access to people's homes. Realtors really do a lot. I think people look at these shows and they think that we just dress up and go and show houses, but there's a lot more to it. We have to understand contracts here in Texas. We have to take certification classes, CE classes, in order to keep our certification going. So there are continuing education classes. And so there's a lot involved, including like legal update now. Texas has added that to a requirement. So you're required to actually have a legal update class every 2 years, as well as contracts class. So it's a little more involved than people think it is,
Yeah.
but I love that.
So I don't just go to Zillow and then call you to go look at a house. That's not how that works, really.
Well, you can, but I don't. I generally work.
That's all you do is just open the door for me.
Yeah,
No,
that's
it's more than
it. That's
that.
all I. Right. Hi, I'm just here to show you the house, and then next thing you know, I'll be making a commission. I wish. I wish it were that
Oh,
easy.
right, right. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think with the latest laws, it's going to be that just got passed down. It's going to be some
Yes.
changes for you guys. I won't go into that, but that was a pretty big deal for realtors. You see it all over the place about how realtors are now kind of like, how are we going to um, share with people all the things that we do? And maybe that's what was needed in the past. It's like kind of
Yes.
like what I do in my world. People don't really see the us on the wheel constantly spinning to keep this thing running. they don't
Right.
see all the work that we're doing behind the scenes. And I have a feeling that's what realtors are. They just don't really, it seems to be a bit of a mystery sometimes about all the things that you actually do. Like you mentioned, contracts, right?
Right.
So understanding different levels of contracts and stuff. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's interesting.
It,
So
it,
no, go ahead.
no, go ahead.
No, I don't know if you had a comment about that, if you wanted to share like your thoughts on what's been going on and how you're able to share all the work that you do.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, one thing is it's raising the standard for realtors. I'm a full-time realtor.
Mhm.
Not that nothing against part-time realtors, but there's a lot involved. And, with these new conditions coming down from this lawsuit and the judgment that was accepted by the court, I think that it's gone are going to be the days where you can just call a realtor and have them go open a door for you.
Mhm.
That is clear from that. So I think that's not a bad thing. I think I've always done consultations with my buyers before I start showing a bunch of houses or meeting them at a house, because there's much more involved in purchasing
Mhm.
the home, including, financing. Not every lender is created equal. A lot of people think they can just go and get the cheapest rates, but there are lenders that really help you in terms of, what kind of programs are out there. So there's that.
Mhm.
And then just determining explaining the process, especially if they're a first time home buyer. And then also kind of guiding them. And even if you purchased a home before, you probably don't remember all the steps and part, of the process, what was involved. So
Right.
those are all the things that I like to do in my buyer's consultation. And then set up a search. Then, I want to make sure the property is within their
Mhm.
requirements before we go look at it. Whether
Mhm.
that's calling the realtor, doing some research, seeing if it's in a flood zone, looking at seller's disclosures, things like that.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's just a different level of marketing that you all have to start thinking about on the value that you provide, other than again just opening up the door and
Opening a door. Exactly. So
touring a house, you know,
exactly.
and on, your own little MLS research trying to find the 2 bedroom with the pool cul-de-sac. It's like, yeah, it's a little more than that.
Yeah,
So let me ask you a
exactly.
little bit now, where I'm trying to help moving companies understand a relationship that a lot of them feel that if I could just get in with a realtor, right? So I'm trying to help guide moving companies in that kind of, what are other ways other than a website, other than paid ads, other than, pay per lead kind of programs, to actually start thinking about building relationships with realtors, and even like apartment managers is another side to this, where, people that manage, 200 apartments, there's that whole level. That would be another conversation with somebody. But in your case, what do you see as like the relationship between a real estate service, a real estate agent, and a moving company?
Yeah. Well, it's very complementary. We're both in the business of helping somebody move to a new location, whether that's through the purchase and sale, or through actually physically moving. So I think that there's a lot of synergy there, and I do think that it can be very effective for realtors and moving companies to work together. I do think also that just sending a cold email to a company, or to a realtor, is not the way to get it done. We receive so many emails, and if we're in the
Mm-hmm.
middle of a deal, or we've got some crisis going on with a client, we're not necessarily going to be responding to a cold email.
Right,
What I
right.
have seen that's been effective, and actually did have a local moving company do this, is they invited the brokerage that I'm under, which is Remax Elite Properties. They did invite us to attend a sort of meet and greet at their office, which was very nice. Their facility included secured storage. They All their employees are, I'm not trying to promote somebody, but all
Right.
their employees are actually, all the movers that do their moving are employees.
Well,
I was
these are the
just
things
really,
you're looking for. It's
yes,
sometimes these moving companies, they contract employees, they have a third party for storage, which there's nothing wrong with that. It's however you feel you're going to be the most profitable and the way you're going to grow, but it sounds like to you, it's like from a real estate perspective, when you're trying to serve your homeowners, there's just a few things that you're looking for as a trust value, things that like, if
Right.
I can see the facility, then I feel comfortable telling my clients that when you're in transition, this company has a legit storage facility and
Right.
not just a third party U-Haul location or something like that. Again, not that there's anything wrong with that. It's just if you want to build that relationship, trust is huge.
Huge,
So,
huge. It is huge because here's the thing: we have to be careful, just like in other industries as professionals, who do we actually refer?
mhm,
And I have been burned by not by moving companies, but a couple of other referrals, and so I have to be really careful that whomever or whatever company that I refer has a great reputation.
mhm,
I would prefer if I'd actually seen their facility or met them in person rather than just a cold email. Again,
mhm,
it goes back to what you were mentioning, Christina, which is all about the trust. And
mhm.
I have to have that trust because I'm asking my clients to have that trust.
Right.
So, and if they fail, and all of a sudden my client calls me on move-in day and grandma's dining table's been broken, and you referred me this moving company, and they were late, or whatever the issues are, that's going to be a problem for me because they trusted me and relied on my referral.
Right, right. Especially if it's a long-term relationship and they might be moving in a year again because it's kind of a transitory. And so now there's just this little bit that they go, Jennifer gave us the
Yeah.
wrong name. It's just
Mm-hmm.
that teeny tiny little chink, you know.
Yes,
They're like, oh,
exactly.
sorry.
And I mean, we have some unique, situations. So I think as I was thinking about this when you had asked me to be on this podcast, like what are some things that I see with my clients,
Mhm,
that are really concerns, that I would like to address initially. And sometimes you have clients who are moving out of state, and so they have to get out of their, residence. They're selling it. So having a company that's reliable to refer to them. But what I see a lot too is there are two closings happening. Somebody's selling and somebody's buying, and it's the same person. So they have to use the proceeds from the sale of their house to purchase their new house. And sometimes those days, those times don't coincide.
right,
So having the ability to say to my client, these movers here will store your when they move, that these are the things they'll do for you. Or if there's a special that you're doing that month and you've told me about it, and I can say they're giving you 10% off, or
right.
you're a client of mine, I do a lot of business with them, so I can offer you a
Sure.
storage for 2 days or some.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
just throwing
yeah. Hmm.
just
Hmm.
throwing out some things, but those are the kind of things that are of value to me as a
Hmm.
realtor because they're valuable to my client. So
Now,
I'm trying to provide a service. Yeah.
yeah, do you kind of keep a list of your favorite movers? Do you have some, or does Remax, or is there like that kind of, okay, in the past these five moving companies have done really well. I mean, do you guys like kind of share with each other? How do you refer?
We do share with each other. You know, it's unfortunately, and I think it's something that all realtors need to be involved in, is sort of offering that referral to
Hmm.
their clients. A lot of times realtors get funny about that because they've been burned.
Hmm.
So they may not, or they might give three moving companies. Maybe they'll give, you know, or they'll say, I don't have any, I don't feel comfortable referring. But I do think that to do the service, for our clients, to give our clients the best service is to be able to refer really great companies. And
Right.
so, I think it's a mixture of all those, Christina. Like, just, maybe I would reach out to an agent and ask, or in this case, maybe I've been to a facility and I'm really impressed, so they are on my short list.
Hmm.
Might want to add two more to that
Hmm.
because I don't necessarily just want to have one referral.
Oh, I
So
agree. Yeah. I think it's
yeah.
good to have at least, 3 to 5 companies and say,
Mm-hmm.
call all five,
Mm-hmm.
tell them what you need, and it's your experience.
Right.
Everybody's different. I know moving companies that really want residential homes. Others really, really want to work with apartments. So it
Yeah.
just all kind of depends, and some of them, every customer is going to be unique, but at the same time, they're all the same. So it's a little, but
Yeah.
regardless, I think you're right. Having a stash of people that you either have heard they've been good, your own experience, I think that's the best. What are some ways that you might recommend in moving companies to build relationships? I mean, you mentioned no cold calling, like not cold calling, but no cold emails. Like if you're going to, here's the thing, let me back up for a second. When it comes to this, I'm telling people there's a 10-point touch. If you
Right.
want anybody to see your brand and your company, you got to at least get 10 points. So you can't assume a cold email one time is going to do anything.
Right.
But what would you recommend to get in front of real estate agents?
Well, I think there are a couple of things. Realtors by nature are social animals. I mean, we like people. We're people. And
Mm-hmm.
so we do a lot of networking.
Mm-hmm.
We do a lot of networking. We do participate in events. We throw events. So I think participating in events with realtors, being there in front of them, person to person, is very important and critical. Again, if you have a fantastic facility, absolutely host a group of
Have an open
realtors.
house. Guess what? An
Come
open
here.
house.
I'm going to feed you. I will
Yeah.
feed you. I've got
Yeah.
some great
Yeah.
deals coming up. I want to show
Yeah.
you, how that's going to, help your client,
Sure. Yeah.
because that's it. We're, my business is mostly referral. So, for me, I mean, I want to maintain that. And
Mm-hmm.
so any more services that I can offer, maybe you're having a moving service. In other words, maybe you move them, but then you help them set up their place, or
Right.
maybe things like that
Sure. Sure.
that
Sure.
I can tell them, hey,
Mm-hmm.
this is what's going on. And so I think they're going to need to actually reach out to actually meet
Mm-hmm. Get
realtors
out of your
more.
office, go
Yes,
to the networking functions. I know pretty much every city has their own real estate agent luncheons, right? They all kind of, different locations, different cities, different meetups, different, but my
sure,
thing too is add value. Don't just show up looking to get business cards. Like how,
correct.
like you were saying earlier, how can you add value? Either you have a special thing for the realtors, 2 months of free or a month free storage, whatever that is. But at the same time, how can you help? How can you help them? Not just sell your business, but what are the things I can do to help you? I've got a great checklist for you. It's nicely printed. You can, whether they use you or not, hey, I've got a stack of them. You can hand them out to your clients whenever they're ready to move. It's a really thorough checklist. It's got your name on, it's got their company name on it, but at the same time, it's free. Here, passes out to your people. Just anything that's helpful. Just be helpful.
Exactly. And that's true. I mean, even if whether that's for a buyer kit that I put together, or I do a presentation to my seller and I say, hey, these are some additional things that I can help you with, it helps sell me.
Mm-hmm.
So if
Yeah.
I'm competing against other realtors, I
Mm-hmm.
want to be able to show how do I differentiate myself? Even though I might get a referral call, they might be referred to the other agents. So it doesn't mean they're going to necessarily go with me. So what are the things that I provide that other realtors don't? And that's definitely an added benefit.
Yeah.
So I think, going to the Chamber of Commerce,
Mm-hmm.
going, you know, go, joining a BNI group. I mean, I'm just throwing out some
Oh
examples.
yeah,
There's
yeah, 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 yeah.
all kinds of, places to meet realtors. If we're
Mm-hmm.
having an event, offering to do a joint event with
Mm-hmm.
them,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah.
eh,
You know,
offer to
free
sponsor
headshots. I got a photographer, free real estate
a headshot.
headshots.
We love free. I
I
mean,
know,
everybody
right?
loves it, but we
Who
really
doesn't?
love free.
Feed me and a headshot? Heck yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think that's good. So in terms of your customers, in your experience, what are some of the, I'm going to switch gears here and thinking about your your customers and how they have some concerns about moving when they purchase a home. Does that make sense? Did I ask that right?
Yes. Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm.
what are the bigger concerns that they're always thinking about when they're like, all right, I finally sold my home or I'm about to sell my home? What's the thing that they're asking you about the moving process?
The timeline, that's the
Mm,
biggest thing. What is the timeline? What happens if the closing is delayed on the buy side? So I've sold, I have the proceeds. The movers have already come on Thursday. I told the movers we were able to move in Friday afternoon, but now it's been delayed. What happens? What are the alternatives for me? So
mhm,
that's one thing I've noted that, if there's closing delays, it's a lot of it is timing in this industry, and I'm sure it is for moving as well. So, how are they going to handle my special items? I mean, I'm worried. I have, expensive art, or I have this item that's been in my family for 5 generations. I don't want something to happen to it. Um, you know, so those are
garage
some.
stuff. I'm always worried about like my
Mhm.
gardening equipment in the background. Like the next time I move, good God, we're going to need its own truck for that, you know,
Yeah,
all
you
my
will.
pots. But that's the first thing
You
that
and your
comes to my
brother
mind.
both.
Yeah, how am I going to move my pots? But
Yeah,
so,
all those
okay.
things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's last minute things, things that are just last minute. The closing didn't quite go through. And I
Mhm.
know from my experience, that's always a real struggle for moving companies is those last minute changes because they tend to kind of, organize and schedule the trucks and the people in such a way. And so that's a good question is how do you address that? How can I make
Right.
sure that when that little thing happens, that either we can make a quick switch or, how much I don't know the answer to this, but how much time do they need? Is it,
Right. How
to make a
flexible.
change? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And I
I mean,
know with companies
yeah.
that have that storage option, I think is very, very helpful because then
Yes.
there is that option to put it in storage for a week or 3 weeks or whatever while the other closing is happening.
Correct.
Because that also is the up in the air. We don't know when that's gonna if that happens too. So yeah, that's
Right, exactly. So I think having, I like it. I mean, I know that this isn't always possible, but I love that when a moving company has storage options that are
mhm,
secured storage options that
mhm,
are in a good facility, that your client can feel confident that their stuff is secure.
mhm,
That's always a plus
mhm,
for people because it just is one less thing they have to think about. It's not just moving that it's one of the most stressful life events, as we know, but sometimes people are going through major, more often than not, life transitions. So that could be a new baby,
divorce,
divorce,
downside, yeah, but
downsizing,
yeah,
elderly relative coming to
elderly.
live with them, a death
Mm-hmm.
in the family.
Mm-hmm.
There's
Mm-hmm.
just so many reasons people are moving. So, maybe they're moving because they need to be closer to medical
Mm-hmm.
facilities. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
So you have to kind of meet them. You have to alleviate as much as you can for them, and that's what they're going to remember. They're
Right.
going to remember that, oh wow, this was a fantastic moving company. Like when Eric and I moved here from Virginia, it was a great uh, we had a great experience. We
Mm-hmm.
didn't have anything broken. The Packers were great. They got here when they were supposed to.
Mm.
The driver
Everything
was in
happened.
communication.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. And the driver was in communication with us,
Mm-hmm.
which is another big deal. I mean, you need to communicate, with
Mm-hmm.
with the clients
Yeah, and
constantly.
not even just like emails. I feel like text
Calls.
messaging is the best way to go.
Mm-hmm.
And so having the ability to text the homeowner or the apartment owner is like we're an hour away or tomorrow is our day, we'll be there at 9, whatever that is. I think, and even during, like, as you're transitioning, you and I both have been through this cross country
Yes.
moves,
Mm-hmm.
south to east, east to west, we've done all
Yes.
kinds of moves.
Yep.
And it's always that in transition part where you kind of forget about it, you don't think about it while you're there, but once you get there, then it all starts kicking up again. I'm like, where is my stuff? Are we good? Are we ready? And then just having the wherewithal to know when I first move in, what goes where. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's
Exactly.
communication, high, lots and lots and lots of communication. I don't think you can over communicate in that.
No, I
Same
don't
thing
think you
with,
can either.
yeah, with home sales too. I think that it goes same with what you do. Um,
Absolutely. I mean, people want to know. I mean, if I'm waiting to hear from, like, for example, this just happened. So a
mhm,
seller who has their house on the market, I'm waiting to hear back from the buyer. I'm updating them even if I haven't heard anything
yeah.
because they're wondering. And so if I say to them, listen, I haven't heard anything yet. I will reach out to you this
Mhm.
afternoon
Mhm.
and let you know where we are. That
Mhm.
way they're not thinking about it. I mean, they are, but they're not worried they're missing a message, what's going on, they're in the
Mhm.
dark. So you have to, I think, as a mover, do the same thing because again,
Mhm.
you're dealing with a very stressful situation
Right.
uh,
Right.
for for them. So yeah, I mean, again, with moving companies, I think that it's such a critical part of the whole process. And I know sometimes they can do like pre-moving meetings, things like that, that really give the clients a feeling like, hey, I'm feeling confident that things are going to go because we met, we
Right.
talked about it, we have a plan in place. They're
Right.
not just going to show up and shove my stuff in the back of a white
Yeah,
truck.
they understand that I got grandma's armoire in the back, that I've got my
Yeah,
drum set, that I know how to pack that up. So everyone's very clear. We just had a client that got a really bad review because it was a last minute move. They basically lied to them about what they had. They didn't tell them the absolute truth of all the individual pieces they had. So when they showed up, it was like, we got to bill you more. This
yeah,
wasn't anticipated. And so this person puts in the review, they showed up, and they just wanted to charge me more money. And so I think, again, it goes back to the communication, but something on that short notice, it's a little difficult. But I
right,
think for your client, I think from a real estate, as a real estate agent, when you're communicating with your customers, is like, hey, when you talk to the moving company, make sure they're aware of all your very expensive construction tools, right? Make sure they know all these
right.
things, and just,
Every mhm,
yeah, every step.
yeah.
But
And I think too, if you've referred, you're doing cross referrals, like maybe,
mm,
somebody comes through and they're trying to move to the area and you have realtors that you like work with or are good at what they do. And then at the same time, from my perspective, if I refer you to a client, I would also like to know how things are going. Maybe
mm,
reach out to me, tell me, say, I reached out. This is everything's going great, and because I am constantly talking to my clients. So
right,
that just, I can say, yeah, I talked to Mark and he told me blah, 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 blah. So it looks like everything looks good. And it's a
right,
partnership.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. For sure. Yeah, that's definitely the relationship you want to have for sure. So let me ask you a little bit about the real estate industry and and what you're seeing in some of the trends. I know that, it's been tough. Not everybody's up for moving. Mortgage rates are really high. So
Hi.
selling and moving. And I know it's impacted the moving industry a lot. We already went through kind of a winter of despair, I would say. People were
Yeah.
just going after anybody. Most people kind of downgraded their expectations and went after senior moves, apartments, those folks. But the residential has been really tough. What are your thoughts on how what are your thoughts on that?
So we're seeing trends definitely. With the interest rates being higher, it's been challenging. Buyers are very skittish.
Mm-hmm.
They've definitely, the commitment is they'll tend to second guess themselves. So sometimes we see things falling through, and that can impact a lot of things, including a moving company. So, for example, if you have, a contingency offer, meaning that you have to sell to buy, and you change your mind, or then that person that has sold, maybe they are buying another house, and they're reliant on that buyer, and now that buyer's backing out, but they've already booked a mover and or maybe they've even moved and put stuff in storage. I mean, there's all kinds of things that can happen.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, that's definitely something I'm seeing, but also, we're seeing a lot of people moving into the suburbs even now.
Hmm.
Looking at, and so you think who's moving to the suburbs? Well, sometimes it's, younger families are moving to the suburbs. Sometimes it's older people too. I mean, they don't want to be in the city. But there's definitely been a growth in the suburban areas. We're really seeing that here, especially in the Northwest.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of growth, a lot of growth. A lot of people are moving further out to, Magnolia. They're,
Mm-hmm.
they're moving out to, the other districts and kind of.
Mm-hmm.
So you're seeing that trend moving forward. You know, Montgomery County is getting a lot of people moving from northern Harris County.
Mm-hmm.
So those are some of the things locally that I'm seeing. I also saw, and I haven't seen anything recently, but I did have quite a few people moving from California. So there were a lot of cross country moves people that I helped.
Hmm.
So those
Interesting.
are, yeah. So some of those things, I think we're also seeing less of that maybe, but definitely during COVID, we saw a lot of that.
Yeah. And just so people know, not everyone's in the Houston area. So, the Woodlands and Montgomery County is like an hour from the center of Houston, right? Harris County is Houston. So I'm hearing the same things over in some like Iowa and Pennsylvania and the Boston areas that people are kind of moving, well, I think that's just been a trend for 50 years, just moving further and further and further away. Now that
Hmm.
we have the ability to work from home, which is very normal now. And I think that's definitely since COVID, people are just work from home. And I think now on the flip side, on the commercial side of things, what are you seeing? I see people going home and office space just killing,
Well, office
dying.
space is struggling. Houston is what, the third largest city or fourth largest city in the United States. You're
Hmm.
seeing we have a huge, lots of skyscrapers downtown, lots of office space. Office space has really been hit hard.
Hmm.
So, people, either companies, especially, smaller companies, are not wanting to have to put out the money because they can
Hmm.
just do everything online. They can meet
Yeah.
online, they
Hmm.
can shared office space places, things like that. So I think we're really seeing a trend that way. That it's just really, it's been impacting. Even these large companies are not moving forward with
Hmm.
their new headquarters they're building or new
Hmm.
facilities that they're supposed to be building because
Hmm.
they just don't have people coming in that they can't justify it. So that's what
And
we're kind of seeing.
I've been seeing a lot of these bigger companies like Bechtel is in the heart of Houston. They've moved outside into the Katy, like Highway 10 Katy area, which is again about a 40-minute distance. I'm not exactly sure where. I believe the building they had, I think they're leasing out the entire space and they're just going to a different location. Don't quote me. I don't know if that's accurate, but they did move. So I'm seeing, and I believe here in the Fort Bend County, there's been some more talk. Obviously, Amazon is now out in Katy. I thought I saw a big company coming out here. I forget the name of it. But again, it's like this movement away from the cities when it comes to office space. Because again, it's about the lifestyle people want to live. They
Right.
like being able to step outside and um, uh, just being able to kind of not so much high traffic all the time and quick commutes and or like Eric does, my brother, your husband,
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of this back and forth where you might go a day or two in and then you
Mm-hmm.
work from home. But I
Right.
just looked it up. I was curious what the vacancy rate, the office vacancy rate. So in Houston office market is, it's really 24.9%, 25% vacancy rate, which I don't know, comparing to national, that seems pretty low to me.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm,
But there's still, I mean, so yeah, so what we're seeing, it's not that there are office spaces available,
yeah.
but you're seeing things sit on the market a little bit longer. People
Oh,
are going to, yeah, people are more likely to, you're going to have more in the negotiation side of things when
right.
you're looking at
Right.
that kind of,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know,
I am
market.
seeing a lot of hybrid too. Like I was saying,
Hmm.
people still need to go in and pe people
And more,
see people.
yeah.
But then you don't need to have three floors, three suites of office space.
Hmm.
It's kind
They're
of shrinking.
downsizing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So just from a moving industry wise, it's like I'm seeing a lot of people just kind of office space is just getting rid of stuff, So,
Yeah.
but
They don't need, I mean, that's what happened with HP because I know that they they didn't need everybody to come in, and then people get used to it, and then it becomes a benefit.
hmm.
And if you're in a if you're technical, and
Hmm. Hmm.
of course that industry's been hit pretty hard, so it's changed.
Right.
But at that time, a couple of years ago, it was like, if you don't provide this, I don't even want to continue
Right.
on with the interview process.
Right.
But
Right.
I mean, that has changed definitely.
Mm.
But it's and then there's the reverse that we're seeing too, and going back to working from home.
Hmm.
We're also seeing that some companies are saying no, you come back
Hmm. Hmm.
to the office. And so now you've got people that have to reverse move because they moved somewhere thinking, oh, this is great. I can, live out in the countryside or live my dream here. And then the company says, no, you got to come back.
Mm-hmm.
And so now they have to move back. And then some people relocate and just don't like it. I mean, that's happened in Austin. They've been experiencing a very big drop in
Mm-hmm.
their market because of people are from California moved in and then didn't like the humidity, didn't like the heat, didn't, and now they're moving out. And companies are now moving out from Austin. So there's been a lot of transition
Moving
going
to
on
South Carolina, I've heard that sounds to be the new place the new
to
it
be.
place,
Mm-hmm.
the Carolinas, but and Florida.
Carolina, yeah,
Yeah,
and Florida, yeah. So,
but
so there's all kinds of things. And then too, people, when you move into areas that are prone to natural disasters, which it seems like everywhere is nowadays,
yeah.
but Houston, you do have very high insurance rates.
Mm-hmm.
Homeowners insurance has gone way up. And so, you know, sometimes people or the taxes when home values have gone up. So then they say, I just met with a client that said taxes are too high. I don't,
Property
I'm
tax.
going to
Yeah.
sell
Mm-hmm.
property taxes. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to sell my house and move somewhere where I don't have those property taxes.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
those are the just little things. So
Yeah,
I'm
but you
seeing that.
explain to them there's also no income tax.
Yes, I do. But then
I mean, that's like
yeah,
so you're
but then
paying
so
somewhere. You're paying somebody. It's not that,
you're
yeah.
paying somebody. But
Sales tax, there's no, and property tax. That's how Texas makes their
their
money.
money, school taxes too. So if they don't have any
Oh,
children, they are thinking to themselves,
yeah,
I
that's
can move
true.
out further and I can get a
Yeah,
lower tax base out where
yeah.
things aren't expensive as expensive. So there, there it's just a lot of different factors that play
Mm-hmm.
into and the commercial market and the real the residential do tie in together because how far are you going to move away from where your office is located if they're asking you to come in 3 days a week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah,
You're
yeah,
still having to commute. Yeah.
yeah,
So,
yeah. I get it. So moving on to like, what have you found with marketing strategy? Have you found the most effective when promoting your real estate services and Remax that could translate well for moving companies that they could I don't not mimic, but kind of I can't think of the word all of a sudden that that works together. What
that
are some
works
marketing
together.
strategies that you've been doing?
So, well, my CRM. So, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
even though I work a lot on referral, I'm
Mm-hmm.
still always reaching out. So, if I hold an open house, I enter their information. Their information goes into my CRM. My CRM is automated. That will it triggers different conversations with people. So they don't fall through the holes because I'm
Mm-hmm.
busy or you know, I get distracted,
Right. Right.
by something. And then all of a sudden I feel awkward because I haven't talked to them in a month. And then now here I am reaching out to them. So having a system in place is super, super important to do that
Mm-hmm.
follow up because, even if you get 100 leads and you 5 of them come through, that's great,
Yeah.
especially in our
5%
industry.
conversion. Yeah,
Mhm. Yeah. So
absolutely.
I feel like you have to play that numbers game, but you have to have follow up, follow up, follow up. And
Right.
I think that goes through for anything.
Right.
My most successful marketing has been face to face,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's, open houses or I'm out and about and I'm talking to somebody. It's that connection that I'm making. So again, I think it goes back to having the processes in place to do the follow up
Yeah.
with AI or you have these automated systems. That's
Mm-hmm.
personally what I think
Mhm.
has worked
I
best
get
for me.
pushback on that. I had somebody reach out to me and he's a moving company owner and he doesn't like the fact that he felt like it was too automated. Like I could tell that it was through an automation system. And my feeling is, yeah, and it's
Yeah,
just,
that
if you want to grow, there is a scaling process that you have to accept. You cannot onesie twosie make a phone call, which you still need to do. But
mhm,
if you want to go from a $250,000 gross revenue company to a $10 million gross revenue company, that cannot happen through a spreadsheet. where you open up Outlook and you send emails. That's just, you don't have, there's no way you can scale that. So you have to put in place some kind, like you were just saying, 100 leads come through. It's impossible for you to onesie twosie reach out to every single person every single day. I mean, you would, that's all you do all day long.
Yeah,
And now with CRMs and automation tools and AI and ways to kind of filter and do things, it's doable. It's, you just have to do it right. You kind of have to be careful about it. And people make mistakes. I get that, but it's just, if you want to grow, if you're just starting out in real estate, you probably have 10 leads and you're
yeah,
probably making a ton of phone calls. But when you
yeah.
get to the point where you're at,
Mhm.
years in the business, highly successful, tons of referrals, there is no choice. You have to have a CRM.
You
And
do.
yeah.
100%. And if you don't, you're losing business. You
Oh,
also, and I think too, client care is really important. That's something that I've really tried to start focusing on this year. You probably received my magazine. I don't know if you received, yeah.
mhm,
And that's, it's a matter of what is your follow up with your clients? What are you
mhm,
providing any value add
mhm,
that their next move they'll remember you and
mhm.
say, wow, they offered this, or I used this service, or, so they're different. I don't know what they would be for moving companies, but I know for me, it might be a magazine that I offer. It might be
Mhm,
a client event that I hold,
mhm.
twice a year, where I, have, hors d'oeuvres and drinks and
Yeah,
just
show up. Yeah,
show up and
show
schmooze
up.
with my
Yeah,
clients and
yeah,
talk to them
yeah.
about their, how is it going? How
Mhm,
how how are you liking things?
mhm.
Do you learn about their life? And that, so for me, that's really it's a relational business. And
Yeah, it
so
is. Yeah.
just having those kind of, even being able to present to potential clients, and then once you're done with the move, we still have other things that we do to provide client care to our, favorite clients or whatever it is. I think that's
Right.
very important, and people miss that step a lot.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think people just miss out on the concept of having that personal relationship. Again, if you're just starting
Hmm.
out, you don't have a choice. You've got to get your butt out there. You got to start getting on the pavement, walking around, meeting people, going to all the chamber functions, doing to build that relationship. Because once you do a really, really good job for one person, it kind of exponentially grows from there.
It
And
does.
so I feel I've been trying to tell people, like, you need to have that mix. You got to go hoof it out there, go meet people, go to the meetups, go to the functions, build the reputation, get the referrals. But then to grow, you've got to start doing legit marketing, whether that's paid
Right.
ad, SEO, social
Hmm.
media, videos. So what kind of to kind of wrap this all up, how can moving companies kind of enhance, what would you recommend to get visibility and get attractiveness to potential customers in that real estate market?
Uh, I would say I would start off, if I were a moving company, if you have local, if you have a local presence,
Mm-hmm.
and, reaching out to your local brokerages
Mm,
and trying to set up, you know, meets and greets or doing joint events together. I think that's really going to set you apart,
mm-hmm.
because that's just not it. I've only been to like one of those, and it's shocking to me, because there could be so many more that are approaching us. We've had staging companies and that
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
stuff, but it's not with the moving companies. So I think that would be where I would start, where the sort of like rubber meets the road, and
Mhm.
get into there face to face, put together an event. I think events for realtors are a big deal. I mean,
Mhm.
really, we are people.
Social,
We are
social, social
we're
animals. Yeah.
we are social
Well,
animals. We
you're
love
the
it.
one career that you can't work from home. Like, you can't sit here where you have to get out of your,
You have to.
it's one of those jobs that you don't have a choice. You have to get out and talk, and
Yes.
you have to be egregious and not egregious, but um,
Agreeable, and yeah,
yeah. Well, obviously my words are now, what's the word when you're out there and you can,
outgoing.
outgoing. Thank you. I don't know what,
Outgoing.
what's
You
that
have to be
word?
outgoing. You do. I mean, even if you're an introverted by
Yeah.
nature, it doesn't mean that you don't get out there and try to create relationships with people,
Hmm.
and that's really what realtors are spend a lot of their time doing. So the less that they have to focus on, oh my gosh, did the moving company mess up for my client? Those are things that, again, the value add. So I personally think putting together events with realtors is a good way to go.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Cool.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Jennifer.
Yes, of
Yay.
course, Christina. Thank you for
Woohoo.
having me. I
Yeah. Well,
enjoyed
tell
it.
people how they can reach you. What are the ways to get a hold of you if they are looking for a good realtor?
So one of the ways you can reach me is my website, which is
Mhm.
jbartlowsellshomes.com. And that's cells with an S, no, nothing in between. And then you can also call me 832-585-2288. You can Google my name. My name will come up also. So, I'm very happy to, talk to anybody and give them my feedback on
Cool.
how to reach realtors. So,
Awesome. Thank you.
yeah,
Awesome, Jennifer.
absolutely.
Jennifer, thank you so much. I'll talk to you probably this weekend when I head out and visit. So,
Okay, sounds good. All right, I'll talk to you later.
bye.
Bye.
Thank you, Jennifer Bartlow. I appreciate the time, and I hope that for you it was beneficial and you learned some actionable steps, some ideas that you can use in your own moving company marketing. And good luck to you. Let me know what your thoughts are about this in the comments on YouTube, if you're watching this on YouTube. If you are listening to this in a podcast, you can reach out to hello@movingmarketing.com and I'll respond. All right. Thanks so much and have a great day. Bye.